this is compatible or not. I grew up doing the horoscope compatibility things on the internet. I'm a Libra, so I know I'm not compatible with Aries and like earth signs and fire signs. Fire signs I gas up. Um, I'm currently with a water sign, which is something I've always told that I wasn't compatible with. But that really got me thinking about, you know what? Yeah, we listen to a lot of stuff when it comes to saying what's compatible, but like it really isn't that hard to be compatible with anyone. There's a video my friend sent me a while ago, and this guy was saying like there's you can be compatible with anyone, but when people change and people grow, sometimes compatibility doesn't change with it. And that really got me thinking too of like how do I really talk about this topic and make it make sense for a lot of different people at different stages of their relationship. Because this goes for single folk too, right? Like a lot of the people that are dating, compatibility, we try to base it off of what's on paper, right? Like, are they working? Are they ambitious? Do they have kids? All those kind of things. But in reality, there's not much more to compatibility than how open somebody is to being a better person. And so I'm going to give you guys, three little tips real quick about things you need to look for when you're in a relationship or you're looking to start dating someone to show you that compatibility is something that can change and be improved, but how willing is that person to actually do the things it takes to actually be with you? So, the first one is there's going to be conflict. Healthy relationships require conflict. Arguments and like disagreements, that's usually what people think about when they think about the relationship being unhealthy. But in reality, it's only unhealthy if you don't get to the point. Conflict is required in a healthy relationship. And I say conflict is just a conversation that hasn't reached this conclusion. Conflict resolution is a process, and it's something that you can learn and be taught in your relationship, but it requires that person to be open to change. And when you're with someone that may be very narcissistic, I know that word gets used a lot, but self-centered, or they have a hard time showing empathy, it's going to be really hard to resolve any conflict because at the end of the day, their goal isn't the best solution. Their goal is getting their needs met, doing what they want to do. And even if you are the person who feels like they're right all the time and they know the best thing, it won't hurt for you to listen and actually talk to somebody about the things that they want. So there's all kinds of processes to conflict resolution. And I know a lot of people talk about compromise specifically, like I don't want to compromise, I don't want to settle. But compromise is not settling. It's not the same thing. Compromise is, those things that are connected to your values, those deep needs, whether it's I want to feel respected or I want to feel safe. Whatever those things are, those are the things that we don't compromise on. And everything else, it takes work. When you are looking at how compatible you are with someone, look at how you guys resolve conflicts. Can you all come to agreement? Do you find out you're the one that's usually giving in at the last minute to try to make things work, to keep the peace? I don't want to fight. And or are you the person that's always trying to fight and not ever getting to the point? A compatible partner is a partner that's willing to have the hard conversation, or at least attempt to have the hard conversation with you. You can learn how to do this. I'm really good at teaching couples how to do this, how to actually have a successful conversation, go from being conflict to being resolved. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not really that dramatic. Like the thing is, the drama that you're used to in your relationships is gonna stop because, oh, okay, that's usually what you end up saying once you have an agreement. First tip, just know that when you're trying to see if you're compatible, you got to know that conflict's gonna happen. Make sure you're asking questions. Make sure that you're checking in with yourself and getting your needs met. And if they're not, there's a conflict. Let's talk about it. The second one that's required to be compatible or not is being curious. A lot of times, especially couples that have been together a while, they stop being curious about each other. I know y'all have heard that people say, you need to date your partner. You need to date your partner for the entirety of your relationship because dating is that process of getting to know each other. And if you're not curious about that person, you just turn into Miss Cleo and you can predict all of their behavior. And so there's no point in even asking them. I already know what they're gonna do. That's not you're not going to be compatible with anyone in that case, because you're going to be telling a person who they are versus letting someone show you who they are. And so curiosity, they say curiosity killed the cat, and why are you being so nosy and you asking too many questions? If you have a partner like that that doesn't like for you to be interested in them, that's a red flag, low key. Like, you really need to, like, what are you hiding? Especially if we're in a committed relationship. If you have someone who just is so mysterious, is cute before you get to know someone, but the whole point of being in an intimate relationship is that there's safety, there's trust. It's hard to trust somebody if they're a mystery to you, but that doesn't mean you can't be curious about them and curious about what they're thinking and their interests, and you know why they do the things they do. It's hard to be a compatible partner if you don't like to communicate. So with that curiosity and that conflict, there's communication in there, right? I've had some very interesting dating situations, and yeah, that's something that I usually would get kind of called out for, is you ask too many questions. And number one, my job as a therapist, like, I'm supposed to be listening more than I talk. And if I need somebody to talk, I got to ask them a question to say stuff. So, you know, and I knew right away if someone was either threatened by the fact that I'm curious like that, or got angry at me for asking questions, we're not compatible, because I'm going to ask you all the questions. I want to learn. That's something that's valuable to me. That's something that I do in my everyday life. And even with friendships, like, compatible friendships are ones where you can grow over time. But some friends you just do stuff with, some friends you can talk to, some friends you can do both. But with your partner, like, you have to be curious. And then people get curiosity and like paranoia mixed up, right? I'm not saying to stalk the person, because again, that's not curiosity. That's you overstepping your boundaries and like trying to prove what you already believe in your mind. Oh, they're cheating or they're doing something. Let me just get the proof. Not saying you don't trust your intuition, but the thing about intuition is when it shows up, usually there's a question attached to it. I'm an empathic person. I'm an empath, if you will. So when I'm feeling some energy that I'm not, that's not my own, I question it, right? But we're just like, well, we're sure we're in our thinking mind if we don't ever question what we're saying. We need to question everything. Curiosity is a way for you to live longer. It's the way for you to really enjoy life more, because you don't know everything and you never will. And so don't act like that when you're with your partner. It's really important to feel seen. And when someone shows interest in you, curiosity is involved. So that's number two. Curiosity is required with compatibility. My third point is character. Okay, that's the part that you're thinking of, right? Like personality. Personality, I use the scope method. So we're looking at how someone is open to change, how organized they are in their life, how much they want to please their partner, how stable they are with their emotions, how social they are. So social is the S, C is the change, O is organization, P is pleasing, and E is emotionally steady. And so personality traits, they are pretty stable over time, but that's the thing. You can invest in yourself and change, and that's building character, right? Character is basically you living out your values. What are values? Values are your belief systems that guide how you live your life. A lot of the work I do as a counselor and as a coach is based on what someone says their values are. And a lot of times people can trick you because they have good values, like, oh, I'm family oriented, and oh, I'm all about respect, and oh, I'm all about success. And they say the right things, but then when you check the behavior, the character, because remember, characters are who actors act like, right? So if I'm a person of good character, of worthy character, I'm acting in the way that my values say. And so if I say I'm a kind person, I value kindness and respect, but I'm cussing you out, not the same character. You're not reading the right lines, right? I think a lot of times people will stay in relationships because they think that what someone says has more weight than what they do. And they might say, actions speak louder than words, but then they listen to the words and ignore the actions. And you can't do that. when I work with clients and couples that come in and say that they're opposites, that we're just too different, what I go right back to is to their values. Like, how different are you really? What do you value versus what do you value? Maybe y'all value the same things, but it's in different priorities. And so we got to go back. Let's get curious. Why are y'all priorities different? And if they are, is that valuable? Because, you're two different people. You're an individual. You can't always think like someone else. But when they're the same and you're at the same level, how are you acting out? What's the character that you're showing up for? You say you're respectful, but you're name calling. You say that you value success, but you're not putting in help in the household to make the household successful. The thing about values is there's no way to ever achieve a value. You live a value, you embody a value. And so it's an everyday decision to be a person of character. And yeah, when you find those red flags with somebody you're with, or once you've made that commitment and these kind of character traits or these behaviors start showing up more and more, and they're adding to the conflict and adding to the discord in the relationship, it's time to get some support. It's time to reevaluate what's happening in the relationship. When you're dating, compatibility is kind of an illusion because you're putting your best foot forward. You're just showing up as the person that you think that other person wants. When in reality, time is going to be the teller if your character is really there, if you're really curious, and if you know how to do what's required when it comes to conflict. This is how so many people are getting in relationships with narcissists. Number one, they show up like they're curious because they're all up in your business and they're always trying to be in your space. So they show up like they really, really want you. You get that love bombing thing that happens. But then when conflict happens, it either is avoided or it escalates to a point to where, it gets violent, it gets dangerous. And then with the narcissist, because their character changes from day to day, you can't keep up. You don't know who you're meeting. And again, I implore you, if you're in that kind of situation, get out of it. Like, that person is not, if they're not aware of their behavior, if they're denying it and avoiding it, they're not compatible with anyone. Their goal is to get power and control. Their goal is not to be in a loving relationship. So you're awesome, but you're not going to change nothing. So just, you got to deal. All right. For my couples, my, people that are seriously dating, for people that are engaged and like looking towards that aisle, and those that have already gone down the aisle, like, it's still always good to reflect on where you are as people, because relationships it's a living thing. They grow and they change over time. In every kind of era of your relationship, your dynamics are going to change, your roles are going to change. And how do you have those conversations? It can be difficult. But if you tune in and keep following me, I definitely am going to do my best to answer those kind of questions and help you navigate those things as a couple, because I'm a realistic romantic. That's how I see myself. I grew up with, Disney and rom-coms and Hallmark movies, and I see the tropes coming a mile away. Doesn't mean I don't love them, doesn't mean I don't think that they're great, but I also can dissect what's not working. I love The Little Mermaid, but I'm not giving up my legs, my fins, or any part of me for any person, for any relationship, So being aware of potential issues is actually better than waiting until you and your partner are in the thick of things to try to get some intervention. I'm going to keep coming back, giving you some more tea, giving you some more tips. If you have any ideas of tips that you want to hear about, or things in relationships that have always confused you or never made sense, please shoot me a message. I am better at answering questions than telling you what to do with your life or telling you how to live your life. That's not my style. My style is responsive. Compatible or not? Well, if you are, then you know that conflict is going to be required. You're not afraid of conflict. You're not afraid to talk about the hard issues. You're curious. Curiosity is required because you need to stay interested in your partner, and this person's interesting but not interested. That's not enough. That's not a compatible partner, because they're going to be dominating the conversations and you're never going to be able to share who you are in the relationship. And number 3, does this person have character? Character is you living out your values. And if this person has all these great personality traits and is good on paper and did great in the interview, but their performance is not lining up, well, you know what you need to do. It's or not. But if this is your person, you've already hired them, you're already with them, and you're in this relationship, then just know On Epiphany Lane is a great place to try to get those things back in line, to build that character, to build that curiosity, and to learn how to deal with that conflict. As I always say, peace on the journey. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.